Okay, both players are set. ChocoPau is bringing the Steelix, the Wolf Glick Steelix Tyranitar combo, and Snivs has his own thing. If I recall properly, Snivs did lose to ChocoPau in Swiss rounds, but I also remember Snivs informing me before this tournament that he's been kind of anticipating for the Steelix and Tyranitar matchup, but was never sure if the pilot from behind the screen was actually any good. Well, I guess we're gonna get some major confirmation now because ChocoPau is an amazing pilot, and yeah, that's probably enough data. Sniffs probably needs to figure this matchup out because he did lose to it again in Swiss, but now we're here, top cut, and it's only a matter of time until we find out whether Sniffs has made enough adjustment decisions or if ChocoPau will retain his undefeated streak.
I am excited to see how this match goes. Good luck to both players.
So, ChocoPau will be leading here with the Sneasler and the Sinistra, while Snivs will be leading with his own Sneasler and the Basculegion. A little bit of an advantage on ChocoPau's side, but I don't think that really lets Snivs, he's ever been on the back foot too hard. The Basculegion here does threaten major damage into the Sneasler, but we have to remember that the Sneasler on ChocoPau's side is in fact carrying a Focus Sash, so it's extremely difficult to just go for the one-hit KO here unless you double up directly into the Sneasler itself. But yeah, we won't be seeing any doubles here. Snivs will be pulling out his own Basculegion in lieu of that. He's putting in his Incineroar, but by putting Incineroar in to reduce the attack of that Sneasler, he is allowing it to use its White Herb and to get its stats back ever so slightly. Sinistra will be going for the Trick Room here, so whether that was intentional or not, ChocoPau Sneasler is now slower than Sniv Sneasler just because of that Unburden boost.
Oh, legit? So, actually, ChocoPau's Sneasler was supposedly faster, right?
It's faster because of the Unburden boost, but then, well, it has the Unburden boost, but in the Trick Room, it just becomes the slowest thing possible. Macho Gacha from ChocoPau does burn the Sneasler on Sniv's side, but not before knocking out that Sneasler. Not knocking out ChocoPau Sneasler with a Flare Blitz from the Incineroar. Burger is usually quite defensive, but yeah, that was...
This was turn 2 now, right?
Yeah, this is turn 2.
So we saw that the Sinistra went first, then the Incineroar. The speeds were swapped.
Yeah, but I think that might be intentional that the Sneasler goes down there. I think it's done its job, considering that it scouted out Sniv's team enough. But Rizzler here, Sniv's Sneasler is burnt. It does not have the capacity to KO this Steelix, the more so if it decides to Mega Evolve. It doesn't even have to Mega Evolve on this turn because it still has Sturdy. On the other hand, Sinistra can also just go for Rage Powder to attract any hits that are going for that Steelix.
So, in this case, would Steelix be going first?
Yeah, Steelix would be the fastest thing here, but we do see that Sinistra is being taken out, and in its place is Tyranitar, ChocoPau switching it out. And on the other hand, Snivs is taking Burger out of the match, and in goes his own Talonflame. And as the turn finally begins, this Steelix will be the one Mega Evolving for ChocoPau's side. It goes for the high horsepower but falls a little on immunities here as the Talonflame comes in and doesn't exactly do anything. But Snivs, actually I must have misread it. Poison Touch is on the Sneasler on Sniv's side. It poisons the Tyranitar just because Dire Claw has been severely nerfed with its secondary effects. Doesn't mean that you can't influence it a little further. I suppose Sniv sees that it's not as fast as other Sneezers. He's not trying to compete with the speed boosts. Instead, he just wants to get that effect in. Putting that Tyranitar on a timer might be exactly what they both needed here. But yeah, Snivs will be protecting his own Talonflame, protecting his Talonflame and his Sneasler. Both of these Pokemon going for protects, while Steelix on ChocoPau side goes for the high horsepower and the Rock Slide into Sniv's side, but it falls on nothing because the protect is right there to stifle that damage. Sandstorm will be doing a little bit of chip, but so will that poison on the Tyranitar. Sneasler though, burnt in the sand, not able to do as much damage in the Trick Room.
So, as you said, Vince, earlier, basically, Snivs would just want to use this Sneasler for that effect of poison, right? I mean, for now, with what it can do at the moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it wants to spread poison as much as it can. That way it doesn't exactly lose the war of attrition. But we will be seeing that Snivs is gonna pull out his Talonflame, and in goes the Incineroar for that Intimidate. Nothing on ChocoPau side able to really stifle that, but the fish.
So Snivs goes for a hard swap.
He hard swaps both Pokemon.
Let's see how this goes.
As the Trick Room ends though, the Tyranitar on ChocoPau side decides to go for that Dragon Dance, and now it's gonna be fast. The dimensions have returned to normal and the speeds are normal. But we have to remember that Burger the Incineroar is still on the field. It does severely threaten the KO. It does have Fake Out pressure. Both Steelix and Tyranitar have Protect, but we're not going to see any Protect just yet. Steelix will be swapping out for Sinistra, allowing that Tyranitar to heal up just a little bit with the Matcha coming in from Hospitality. Basculegion going for a Aqua Jet onto the Tyranitar, but Parting Shot will be coming from the Incineroar, cussing out that Sinistra. Not like it did all that much damage, but every little bit of damage reduced helps so much. Sneasler will be coming back out though. Here's the thing. Tyranitar's gonna wanna click Rock Slide or Knock Off. Rock Slide is probably the better of the two, but there is a chance to miss. The Sinistra, however, allows this Tyranitar to move freely just because it can Rage Powder the damage out. But we're probably not gonna see that happen because the Tyranitar gets swapped out for the Steelix. On the other hand, Sniffs will be swapping out his Basculegion for Burger, the Incineroar, just pivoting in and out. Again, it's been quite a while since we've seen Incineroar play out in these games, and Sneasler is still doing Sneasler things.
As always.
Dire Claw finally gets something done. Trick Room will be coming back up from the Sinistra. The level of pivoting in and out and allowing the field conditions to change constantly for these players, a single mistake could mean the game for any of them.
It's tricky. I can't imagine because, of course, I've battled Snivs at some point.
You've also battled ChocoPau.
Oh yeah, and ChocoPau. Both players are really good at piloting their teams.
Yeah, but Fake Out pressure from Incineroar. Fake Out will fake out. But again, the Parting Shot has already reduced the damage from the Sinistra. And it will be healing just a little bit, but not as much as you'd normally expect it to. Close combat will be hitting into the Sinistra, interestingly. Probably expecting a hard switch into the Tyranitar, but that simply didn't happen. That probably gave ChocoPau some information that Snivs is trying to sniff out a switch. The Tyranitar in the back is a little worse for wear, but not completely out of it just yet. The Steelix, on the other hand, is very healthy. While it does have Sand Force, it definitely doesn't want to get hit too badly. Burger will be switching out here once more, and in goes Talonflame. Both trainers just constantly pivoting their Pokemon in and out, trying to stall each other out, waiting for any opportunity to just get a hit in.
This is the type of games where you just have to like sit and keep going, even though it's kind of frustrating. Like the swap in, the swap out. Yeah.
2 turns of Trick Room left, however. There's not much you can do here. Snivs is gonna have to burn through these Trick Room turns, but it's gonna be extremely difficult. Because as soon as the Trick Rooms end, this Tyranitar probably will be using Dragon Dance on the next turn, speeding itself up. But Talonflame... Yeah, Talonflame's gonna have to do something here. But if the Tyranitar decides to go for a Rock Slide, it's going to take out both of these Pokemon.
What an interesting how players are swapping out Pokemon.
It's starting to look a lot like a singles match.
I'm curious how this will end.
And we will be seeing the Rock Slide go into Sniv's side, and it just does such a sizable amount of damage into the Incineroar, but brings it down to its Citrus Berry, eats it up, even after an Intimidate though. So it really goes to show how powerful Tyranitar can be, given the chance. But again, this Sinistcha is already poisoned. I mean, paralyzed, while the Tyranitar itself is poisoned. So this could be problematic in the future if the Sinistcha gets a paralysis turn at any point. The Tyranitar is still on a bit of a timer, but can keep going. Talonflame, on the other hand, this is again the last turn of Trick Room. There's not much it can do here. Okay, Sinistcha will be protecting itself, but Burger will be faking out the Tyranitar. At this point, I believe the Tyranitar might want to just go for a Rock Slide on the next turn to take out both of these Pokemon. Leave Snivs on the last of his Pokemon as well. But this is extremely difficult, I would say. The positioning is good for both players. The Sinistcha, on the other hand, still has the Rage Powder, while this Tyranitar can take out both Pokemon on Sniv's side of the field with a single Rock Slide. But if it goes for a Dragon Dance on this turn, it should be able to do something extremely well. I mean, it should be able to take out either of these Pokemon at the end of the turn. But instead, ChocoPau will be switching his Sinistcha out for that Steelix. Instead of attacking, Snivs goes for a defensive option and goes straight for the Tailwind.
Oh. What an interesting turn. So this time, Snivs has speed control, right?
Right. But Tyranitar manages to get the KO on the Talonflame, but fails to secure the KO on the Incineroar due to a miss. This means that Sneasler can come back in, but the bigger question is, who's switching in for who? It's extremely difficult in this scenario because while Snivs can close combat using Sneasler, but instead he brings out the Basculegion. The Basculegion, though, will be able to threaten both of these Pokemon, but will not be able to threaten the Sinistcha. So it's kind of a bit of a conundrum. If he goes for the last respects here, he hurts the Steelix and the Sinistcha, but might fail to get the KO on the Tyranitar. However, if he goes for the Wave Crash, he runs the risk of KOing himself, but also might not do anything into the Sinistcha a little later on. So it's a bit of a conundrum again, but ChocoPau will be switching in his Sinistcha in place of the Tyranitar. This allows the Basculegion to just... Oh, it will protect. The Steelix has healed just a little because of Hospitality again, but Protect will be coming out from both the Steelix and the Basculegion. Burger the Incineroar goes for a Flare Blitz into the Steelix, and the Sandstorm has once again subsided. Tailwind still up on Sniv's side of the team, but this Sinistra, however, looks to be in a very good position to just set up Trick Room all over again. This game has been running on for very long. Their timer is almost about to run out. Both players making the best possible decisions they can, and understandably, but that Sneasler in the back is burnt. There's not much. There's Tyranitar in the back on ChocoPau's side as well. Poisoned and on the timer. None of these Pokemon are looking great, except maybe the Steelix, but okay. So we will be seeing a hard swap from the Sinistra back into the Tyranitar. But Wave Crash will be coming from Basculegion into the Steelix, enough to take it out completely. So the Steelix will be going down as while Basculegion manages to survive just a little more. Tyranitar though, this might be it. The Poison Chip might be enough to take out Tyranitar here. Sand Chip not enough, but yes, the Poison is in fact just enough to take out that Tyranitar. 1/8. 12%, 12.5 to be exact. And this leaves the lone Sinistra to fight through this match. Of course, it's not impossible here. Sandstorm chip damage is still quite potent, and Sinistra is quite bulky. The Basculegion here, though, is just Mystic Water. It can go for the last respects if necessary. But yeah, it will be protecting itself. ChocoPau has been known to be pretty darn lucky. If he goes for the double protect here, this might win him the game. Sand chip damage might just be enough to win him this game. Citrus Berry heals. The next turn is going to decide all of this. If the double protect works on ChocoPau's side, RNG will be the determining factor for this match. If at any point, if this double protect works in the favor of ChocoPau, he wins. But if Snivs manages to, ignore the double protect, or rather, the double protect does not come in, then Snivs is probably going to win this game. And double protect does not happen. The question is, will this last respects be enough to take out the Sinistra? A critical hit, that might have been enough to bring it down to KO range. Last respects will be coming from the Basculegion, and it is in fact enough to take out the Sinistra, securing Snivs game 1. 3 minutes remaining on the timer.
That was so interesting. Both players, managed to sit through the swaps, and this is what we can expect actually, because the thing is, it was interesting to see how the Tyranitar would hold up with the poison, right?
Yeah.
So I guess he was not able to keep up the pace. So, as you said, Vince, it would have been a double protect that would have helped.
The win there was dictated by a 33% protect rate.
So, let's say if ChocoPau did manage to go for the double protect, both would that have helped?
It would have secured the KO on the Basculegion.
That's very interesting. So
Sand chip damage is all he needed. But we will be going into game 2, and both players are playing out of their minds. ChocoPau will be leading once again with Sneasler and Sinistra, while Snivs does the exact same thing as game 1. They are leading once again with And they're making the exact same leads. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. This worked out very well for both of them. It turned out to an RNG match by the end of it. Yeah, both players just kind of gauging it out. They probably know their game plans already. It's just a matter of, making something work. Genuinely curious how either of them gonna play this out. Just like game 1, Znivs will be swapping out his Basket Legion for that Incineroar. He will be activating the White Herb on ChocoPau side, but just like game 1, the fake out will be coming in from the Sneasler on Znivs side into the Sneasler on ChocoPau side. And just like game 1, once again, a major repeat of the first game, Trick Room will be going up for the first time in game 2. ChocoPau Sneasler will once again be the slowest Pokemon on this side, on this field.
Yeah, I remember in the game 1, it was Sinistcha went first. So, we're seeing a working track here from Znivs.
Yeah, unlike game 1 though, Znivs will be forced to attack the Sinistcha instead of the Sneasler. In game 1, the Sinistcha did not go for Rage Powder at all. And similar to game 1, we're right here all over again. The Dire Claw gets the proc on the Sinistcha. So it is once again paralyzed. In Trick Room, I mean, it doesn't really mind that all too much. Sneasler, on the other hand, will probably be eating another Wave Crash directly. ChocoPau did whiff into the Basket Legion with close combat using his Sneasler in the previous turn. However, again, it's the slowest thing on the field. We'll be seeing Sinistcha move, then... Yeah, okay, so Snivs will be pulling out his Basket Legion and sending Incineroar back in. Just in getting that Intimidate cycle through. Matcha Gotcha coming from the opposing Sinistcha though on ChocoPau side, but unlike the previous game, Rizzler the Sneasler will not be getting burnt. Enough to get another Dire Claw in and bring it down into Sash. I mean, bring it down into Citrus level. So Sneasler on ChocoPau side has used close combat into Snivs' Sneasler, and God, say Sneasler so much. They're just kind of trying to punch through each other. Incineroar here, we did see it take out the Sneasler in the previous game using Flare Blitz. Will it be doing the same thing? So Sinistcha will be pulled out, and in comes Tyranitar kicking up that Sandstream. The bigger question is, will that be the Mega Evolution of the day? Well, ChocoPau doing a hard swap on both. The Flare Blitz going into the Tyranitar fully resisted. And what's the Sneasler gonna do? Goes for the close combat into the Steelix. Sturdy working wonders there. But we have to remember, Trick Room is still up. Both of the Pokemon on ChocoPau side of the field will be the ones moving right before both the Incineroar and the Sneasler. This is, however, the last turn of Trick Room. Snivs' Sneasler does have Protect, and we're not exactly sure if this Incineroar is going to be able to do as much damage as it wants to. It's not a great position for Snivs to switch his Talonflame in either to sub for the Incineroar, considering that the Tyranitar might be going for a Rock Slide. But judging from how things are, this Tyranitar might be the one Mega Evolving. So instead of the Talonflame, he will be switching in the Basket Legion. And despite the drop in HP, the Steelix will be the one Mega Evolving. I suppose this means Tyranitar will be Oh wow, that high horsepower into the Basculegion just did so much damage, and yeah, before I was cut off earlier, Tyranitar just goes for the Dragon Dance. As the Trick Room ends, this Tyranitar becomes the biggest threat in the field. So long as it manages to crack through a single Rock Slide and manage to hit both of these Pokemon, it might be enough to take them both out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much damage this Tyranitar will do, considering it already did one Dragon Dance.
Yeah, but in comes Incineroar to slightly neutralize the incoming Tyranitar. And yeah, just the sheer level of attrition both of these players are going for. Tyranitar will be healed by that Hospitality. Aqua Jet coming from the Basculegion just doing so much damage here. Rock Slide though will be taking out the Basculegion, and Burger the Incineroar looking a little worse for wear, but still in the game. He will be consuming that Citrus Berry. It goes to show just how powerful Tyranitar can be. This is a Jolly Nature Tyranitar, by the way, so pretty common these days. Like Milan said in the Swiss rounds, Tyranitar has been geared to be much faster. But so long as Gale Wings is available, this Talonflame's a lot faster than the Incineroar. I mean yeah, of course it's faster than the Incineroar. It's faster than the Incineroar by virtue of Gale Wings. But I don't think... Okay, so Fake Out will be coming from Incineroar, but will this be... Okay, it's a dual Wing Beat into the Sinistcha. That will be enough to KO the Sinistcha. However, they still have the immediate threat of that Tyranitar and its Rock Slide. Rock Slide will be way more than enough to take out the Talonflame. Interestingly, so Steelix will be coming out on ChocoPau side of the field, and
Steelix in front of two fighters. That will be a little bit challenging, right, Vince?
yeah, but if I'm calculating it properly, even if the Tyranitar is Jolly, the Talonflame should still have enough speed to outspeed it, actually. But the only moves on this Talonflame don't appear to help it very much. So, I'm genuinely curious what znivs is planning to do here. Because if I'm looking at it, he is running an Adamant Talonflame, so it's technically slower, now that I think about it. Just by a tad few points. If it was a Jolly Talonflame, it would be a lot faster than the Tyranitar, even at +1. But that's certainly not the case here. Tyranitar will be protecting, and znivs has chosen not to switch out his Talonflame. Instead, he also opts to protect it, which I'm going to guess the Steelix will also be protecting. Burger the Incineroar going for a Flare Blitz into the Steelix, and the Sandstorm is going to subside. This Talonflame though needs to get something done because it's going to eat a... Well, it's not a boosted... There's no attack boost on the Tyranitar because of Burger the Incineroar, but we still have to take note that the Incineroar probably needs to punch through this Steelix and this Tyranitar at the same time. And znivs' Talonflame just... We've discussed this several times before. Talonflame just doesn't do as much damage. I believe that's why the Talonflame on ChocoPau side has Swords Dance, just to boost that much damage. It just doesn't do as much damage as you'd want it to. But
Look at the team sheets, just so that I can better understand.
so the team sheets are on the screen. The Talonflame on ChocoPau side are in fact Jolly Nature, Brave Bird, and Flare Blitz. If I recall properly, this is Wolf Glitz in the Indianapolis team. But yeah, znivs, Incineroar, Burger is a Careful Nature. Not all that much help into this matchup, considering none of these are special attackers. But Oh, it's looking very difficult for either player. There's less pivoting in this game, but it's just as high intensity and difficult.
I agree. Like, both players are just. Oh, how do I say this, Vince? It seems like it's a really tough decision to position your Pokemons, considering Snivs has these fire types and of course Snivs. I'm just curious.
Oh, timing! The time!
Was it the time?
It was the timer! ChocoPau ran out of time!
Na DC.
Oh, he got disconnected!
Ah.
Oh, that was so unfortunate!
Yeah, but
I guess it is what it is. You live and die by RNG sometimes. Except this one was real life RNG, it seems.